Hello and welcome to another game of Company of Heroes 3. My name is Fancy Josh, and today we've got a match between RedxWings and Oziligath. Oziligath, our US player, is ranked 63rd in the world as US, and RedxWings is also very highly ranked. I want to say he's top 30. I wasn't able to see his Warmer checked ranking, but I'm certain that he is also highly ranked. So I'm looking forward to this game. Now we got a very interesting opening from our former checked player. He has added on 4 engineer squads, so he's going to be looking to capture a lot of territory right away. But I expect he's going to have a tough time actually holding that territory, at least to start. Yeah, we'll see what he's got in store for us. Our US player opening pretty standard. 2 recon squads, 2 scout squads, and a rifleman squad. So he's going to have a little bit of a mix of fighting power and capturing power. So our US player is already locked in the heavy weapons tree. This battle group tends to focus on weapon groups, making your support squads a bit better. So curious what he has in store for us with that tech tree. First skirmish of the game over this southern fuel point. US player trying to keep his units at range. This squad here is great at long range compared to these Pioneer squads who are better up close. But with the second squad of Pioneers coming in, I suspect that this US troops are going to have to give up this spot here. Chasing him down, trying to... He's very careful to not walk into that heavy machine gun. Oh, well played. That was a nice little bait. Rifleman showing up to help put an end to this fight. Up top, we've got a little bit of a skirmish as well. Skirmish is breaking out everywhere as the forces are finally meeting each other. German player adding on another Grenadier squad. So, I like this playstyle from our German player. A lot of times you'll see it's really, really easy to just add on a heavy machine gun squad. But that kind of, puts you in a position where it's not as easy to take territory. It's much easier to hold territory with a unit like that. So, I like this flexibility that we're seeing out of our German player. Now, this is an interesting map, and I don't actually know what it's called, and I probably should. But it's got this wide open space in the middle that nobody seems to care about because it's just manpower points. And these points don't actually serve as cutoff points for any of the resources on the map. So dudes just don't fight over it, and I don't blame them. So, I'm curious to see how this map shakes out. It does look like there's a fairly substantial cutoff point there near their bases, but it really only connects you to the points in the middle. So, with a map like this, I think that players might just be focused on the edges of the map and focused on fighting rather than trying to take away specific points. Where's this fight taking place? Here we go. Manning that building are these Grenadiers. Trying to take this long-range fight to push away this Rifleman squad. Ooh, losing a squad of Pioneers in the middle there. That's how fast it happens. You look away for just a second and you lose a squad, so... I'm sure that's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. So our German player is locked in the Terror battle group. I have been seeing a few games of this battle group recently. This is one of the newer battle groups available in the latest DLC from the Relic team. It provides... I have seen folks use it for its heavy machine gun. That's the machine gun camouflage perk there to... stealth your heavy machine guns, but of course he's not building any, so he's not picking that up. Now, I've also seen folks pick up this Contempt for the Weak, but our player here, RedxWings, has gone for Interrogate. So that allows him to reveal the location of enemy units by interrogating dead units, so like this. And he's about to reveal, if I show his vision, should show nearby units. So that's very cool. I haven't seen that before. Used before, anyway. German players added on a half-track. And while I was yapping there, it's like our US player lost a scout squad. So both players down a squad early, just trading those units out. But this heavy machine gun, or excuse me, this half-track here is going to push away that rifleman squad. US player adding on a half-track of his own, probably looking to add on the... probably going to see him add on the anti-aircraft package. That's what I see a lot of US players do, to give them that anti-infantry. It's also good against light vehicles like this half-track. Now our German player did go for the Stummel variant of the half-track, which does okay against light vehicles, but it's really... It shines against infantry, and we saw it there. Love this from our German player, adding on mines in the center of the map. Ooh, he could, that hits that, if that half-track hits it, he's going to be real sad. As you can tell, the German player has, or the US player has added on the anti-aircraft package, and we saw that Stummel hit the anti-aircraft carrier through the wall there. He actually did an attack ground, because that half-track could not see that AA half-track from the US player. He attacked ground to hit him through the bush like that. We also saw the Stummel use this blinding shot ability, smacking that AA gun right in the face. He might do another attack ground here. Oh, that was really nice. That's a dead anti-aircraft half-track. Beautiful play, shooting him through the wall there. Now that's a fairly significant setback from for our US player. See what he decides to do about it. I think that adding on an anti-tank squad, potentially an anti-tank gun, could all be beneficial to him. He is hurting a little bit for manpower. It's the nature of the game. As you add on more units, your manpower income decreases, and it gets that much harder to maintain the large army that you already have. But it looks like our US players decided to add on another half-track here. See if you can be careful with, more careful with that one. The income is definitely favoring our German player here. And I think that is... trying to figure out what that's stemming from here. Again, I'm not super familiar with this map. It looks like our German player should have a significant ammunition income advantage, and he does, but he also... I guess it's only a small advantage. I read this as 33, but it's actually only 23, and that makes sense. And I didn't get to talk about this in the moment, but I did notice that our German player added on a... He went ahead and researched Veterancy 1 for all units coming out of this Panzergrenadier company. So he was instantly able to level up that half-track to level 1, which gave him access to that blinding shot, which we then saw him use. So that was a very calculated play by our German player. He intended on using that blinding shot early. That was pretty cool to see. Now we see him adding on a Stug here. That's going to be tough for our US player to deal with without any anti-tank weapons. I mean, he does have the anti-tank grenades from the rifleman, but I think he's going to need more than that to be able to compete with this Stug. This is the advantage that the German player has earned himself by killing that AA half-track. You know, our US player had to add on the half-track, add on another half-track just to stay even. and now he's behind a Stug. So I suspect we'll see, you know, I said it earlier, but I really think our US player needs some strong anti-tank capabilities here, whether that's an anti-tank squad or a anti-tank gun. Now, the German player probably has the sixth sense telling him that there's no anti-tank capabilities from this US player. He was trying to charge ahead there. He ate an anti-tank grenade for his trouble, but it did save that half-track. US player added on bar rifles to all of his squads, so he's going to have some anti-infantry capability to try and deal with all these squads from our German player. But I think this game is going to tell a story about light and medium vehicles. We'll see how it ends up playing out, but it seems like infantry is less important to both players. And as I say that, our German player has added on a second Panzer Grenadier squad. Bit of a brawl breaking out here in the middle. Tanks pushing up north to maybe push away these riflemen. And I really like this AA half-track sitting way back at the maximum range, just firing into the middle here. That's how you want to use your vehicles. You want to keep them back because you don't know what's in the fog of war. You don't know if there are mines over there. You don't know if there's anti-tank guns. So I really like hanging way back like they're doing here. And we just saw... what was that? I don't know what that was. Anyway. Big fight breaking out up top here. US player committing to... he's saying that he cannot lose any territory. I mean, he really needs that fuel up there. He also really needs this this victory point to stay in the game, so looks like he's dedicating all his resources up there. I wouldn't mind seeing the German players swing down south, maybe pick up this fuel point to gain a small advantage that way, but I also don't mind this big push from him. Now again, he's really wanting to chase with this this Stug into this anti-aircraft gun, but again, he doesn't know what's in the fog of war. The anti-tank gun is just now arriving, so he had an opportunity, but of course he didn't know it. There's the anti-tank gun revealing itself. I think that was an attack ground. I don't think he had vision of where the Stug was. That was for being a shot in the dark, that was a pretty nice shot. German player capturing this bottom side like I was suggesting earlier. US player capturing this victory point. So just trading a little bit of territory here. Going to be somewhat of a brawl here down here. I think the German has a squad advantage. It's going to make it rather difficult for the US player to win, but US player managed to get into heavy cover, so we'll see how it works out. Anti-aircraft gun coming down. That should do some work. He's got it on vehicle mode, and only targeting vehicle mode there for just a second, but he sorted out his mistake, and now these guys are going to get pushed back. Panzerfaust coming out. And as long as the tank doesn't show up, this AA half-track should be okay. He's leaving now because he knows the risk. Here comes the Stug, and it looks like our German player has added on a second Stug. That's going to spell trouble for our US player. Our US player did add on a anti-tank half-track, and the anti-tank gun is fighting as well. It's pretty risky for both players. This is probably going to be a definitive fight. They took out the anti-tank gun. This half-track can get a good shot on that Stug. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Running away with that half-track, retreating his squads to try and deal with this tank. And this is looking pretty bad for our US player. He needs some anti-tank grenades on this Stug, but I don't think it's going to happen. And that is a tough spot for our US player to be in. He's lost 2 half-tracks now. You know, his saving grace is certainly that He still has all of his fuel. He still has all of his infantry squads. He's adding another anti-tank gun now. He managed to keep the AA half-track alive. Oh, just kidding. He converted? Huh. I did not see what happened to the anti-aircraft half-track. And now I'm going to figure it out. So what do we got here? We got an M3 assault carrier. In any case, he now has an anti-tank half-track here, which is just what he needs. I think he's doing okay for anti-infantry. The real problem are these Stugs. And to be totally honest, he needs... I think he needs another anti-tank gun. He's probably not too excited about having to add one of those on. Just because they on a map like this, right, he has to control all of this vertical space, and doing that with anti-tank guns is difficult, and so he's probably remiss to add one on. He probably really wants another one of these anti-tank half-tracks, is what I expect to see him add next. That's a barrage ability. Yes, it is a barrage ability. Oh. Yeah, it was. Cool. Stugs now have that side skirt armor, gonna make them even tankier. And it's so funny to see these Stugs running away from a half-track. But he's probably aware there's an anti-tank gun sitting in the fog of war there. The half-track is in danger. Ooh, shell bouncing there. That's tough break for the US player. Pushing up with these riflemen, probably looking to get a anti-tank grenade. And I think he just used a debuff ability on the German player. I didn't see what it was, but they did have a red debuff on them there for a short period. Continuing to chase away those Stugs. That is so impressive to see Stugs being pushed off by a half-track. And as anticipated, our US player has added on another half-track. And you know, I'm now realizing, and of course this is my lack of familiarity with all of the battle group options, but he has the M3 assault carrier, which basically upgrades every single one of his half-tracks, so that's why we're seeing so many of them from him. Now our German player has added on a Nubelwerfer. This is not a unit I see very often, so it's fun to see it used here at a high level, pushing away those units. We're all breaking out here on the bottom side over control of this victory point. Now our US player is making use of his heavy machine guns. You can upgrade your regular heavy machine guns into this 50 cal squad here that's even more effective against infantry and light vehicles. Now, it should be noted that our US player is currently controlling all of the victory points. He was for a short time. He's currently controlling 2 of the victory points. That barrage ability from these carriers is just brutal. And looks like our German players were paying the favor, saying, "Get the heck off my victory point." So our German player has built up a sizable victory point lead here. But at the same time, our US player has done an admirable job coming back in this game. Part of me is wondering if part of the issue... Now, it feels like our German had a really big advantage, and it hasn't carried over to a map control victory. Like, I can't articulate why. I'm going to have to take a second look at this game and kind of figure out what the German could have done better. I mean, he was streets ahead for a bit there. And now it feels like he's just barely holding on. Not barely holding on. He is struggling to control enough territory to be winning the game, right? I mean, he's once again losing that victory point. I don't feel like these Stoogs have had a huge impact on the game other than to destroy a couple half-tracks, which our U.S. player has done an admirable job recovering from. So maybe I'm just observing that the game has slowed down a little bit, and that's okay. I mean, I'm excited to see where this game goes. Now, our U.S. player is adding on, our German player is adding on a Nubelwerfer squad. He added on an anti-tank squad as well. German player interrogating another unit there, giving himself vision of the map. And the U.S. player has taken definitive control of this bottom side. Wow. Impressive. Well, we have a second here. I'm going to take a look at the choices in the battle group that we're seeing right now. Here comes a Nubelwerfer barrage. And those have a heck of an explosion radius, eh? Wow. So, expect to see, when you... Okay, this game is obviously not real life, but when you barrage like that, it's going to dislodge your opponent from an area. It may not remove them from defending the area, but it's going to make them dislodge, shift around, pick different cover, whatever it is. So, in a perfect world, you're going to barrage like that, and you're immediately going to send in infantry, while the barrage is happening, or immediately afterwards, to take advantage of the chaos your barrage just caused. So, nice job on our German player dislodging, but I think he took too long to come in and take this area, because now the U.S. player has mobilized up top, and the advantage the German player built for himself has been mitigated to some degree, right? Nice mine from our U.S. player. I love that, leaving behind hazards for our German player to deal with. And I didn't comment on it at the time, but our U.S. player has added on anti-minesweepers, and he's been clearing out mines from our German player, which I think is just a fabulous idea. Nubelwerfer's denying area here. Really, that was a fantastic barrage, right? He's making it difficult for the U.S. player to push in and challenge him. But our U.S. player is making a beautiful flank on the side here. He's not going to be able to deal with those Stoogs, but he is certainly going to try. And that half-track barely making it out of there. Nice little flank. So players seemingly content to trade victory points here. Wouldn't mind seeing our U.S. player kind of sneak up here and take away this fuel from the German player. I think that would benefit him greatly. At the same time, I think our German player should sneak down here with any squad and just pick up this fuel point. I think he's pretty occupied trying to take this victory point. I don't blame him. And, now that I'm looking at it, our German player has a ton of fuel and a ton of manpower. He is saving up command points right now. I think he needs 9 for the King Tiger, so I think we might be seeing a King Tiger in this game. We're all here trying to pick up these engineers. I think he's going to get it. Oh, barely didn't get it. Did throw an anti-tank grenade on that Stug, forcing it away. And look at all these vehicles, so high veterancy, and right as I say that, he loses his half-track there. Another barrage coming in, forcing the U.S. player back. I think I was right. Early in this game, I said, this game is going to be a brawl because of the layout where you can't just capture away cutoff points, so we're just having a gigantic brawl. I was wrong about where the brawl was going to take place. I would sort of expect our German player to be trying to brawl for these 2 points up here. You know, it's just been these light skirmishes up north and this heavy, heavy brawl in the middle here. So, I mean, just look at the devastation. I mean, this point's all cratered out. Trees are on fire. Oh man, I just love how the terrain changes over the course of the game. Finally, our German player's taken away this bottom point. I think that's really good. U.S. player making a big push in here. So I've been trying to figure out why it doesn't feel like the German has the decisive advantage I feel like he should have. And I think part of it is these Stooks are not terribly effective against infantry. You know, I mean, it's not like they're not doing nothing, but they aren't translating into the control that I would hope for with an investment of that much fuel and that much manpower, right? So don't get me wrong. I love that our German is playing these Stooks. I guess I'm just a little disappointed personally in their performance, and that's not the fault of our German player. German player finally has a victory point advantage, but it does seem like it's going to be very short-lived. Our German player is, I like that he's added on this mine-sweeping capability to his pioneers here. Not only does it let you see mines, but it increases their repair speed, which he's doing a lot of, obviously. Looks like we're just going to be trading in the middle here for a while. Not that I mind. I love watching games like this, and you can see, you know, it's become a no man's land where heavy machine guns shoot at infantry across a wide field. Barrages flying over each other's heads with the AT just sitting just out of reach. Another barrage coming in, forcing that heavy machine gun back. Oh, that machine gun getting unlucky, getting hit by 2 rockets as it retreats, almost wiping the squad. U.S. player coming out ahead in that exchange, managed to capture 2 victory points, or all the victory points, rather. German player quickly rectifying that situation. Duke's pushing in here, shooing away those riflemen. It's kind of funny to see those riflemen just stand and tank it, right? They don't seem to care that they're getting hit. And I believe our U.S. player just added on a Pershing tank, which is going to be really fun to see. Pershing tank, my personal favorite tank in this game, followed closely by the classic Tiger. Love the Pershing, highly mobile, big gun with a lot of armor penetration and high damage. But it trades that for a bit of a reputation as a class cannon. Doesn't stand up to armor its own size very well in a toe-to-toe fight. But as you're going to see here, it's going to absolutely wipe this squad. Barely getting out of there. Looks like our German player was pushing that anti-tank gun forward to try and help with that Pershing. Duke's feeling outmatched here. Backing up a little bit. U.S. player not wanting to commit to the push there. I don't blame him. He doesn't know if there's mines here. He doesn't know how many AT guns his opponent has, so smart decision to pull back there. Our German has, I mentioned this earlier, he has 1.5 million manpower and fuel, and he just now picked up the King Tiger. It looks like he was waiting for the command points like I was suggesting earlier. And he does have it, so he's just saving up that last 50 manpower. We're going to see a King Tiger versus Pershing here. Man. Oh, I'm so happy to see. I'm so happy I found this game. For those of you that don't know, the replay system, there's a whole observer mode in Company of Heroes 2. And I highly recommend you check it out. just for fun. Even if you never cast a game, you can learn a lot just by watching people. And it's so the observer system has made it challenging to find good games. So what I've actually been doing is I've been going onto the leaderboards, and I've been going through the first few pages of, the top 50 US players or top 50 Warmachek players or anything like that, and finding matches. You can actually observe players that are in games on the leaderboard, and that's what I've done here. I found this game through RedxWings, who I don't know him in real life, but I do know him from Company of Heroes 2. I've seen him play before. Anyway, long story short, this game, I'm so happy I found it. This has been a really, really fun game to watch. German player picking up a half-track in the middle there. He is CC'd by those riflemen. Don't think the Stuke's going to go down. Oh, that was a really unfortunate bounce for a US player. His shell bounced off the front of that Stuke. So it looks like it's going to be a half. He's going to trade the half-track. Trade that half-track and not get anything in return. Here comes the King Tiger. Where's our Pershing at right now? He's got a flank on this King Tiger. That's going to be a big hit. Nice shot there. This Tiger needs to back up probably. Look at that. Look at that AT gun bouncing off the side of that Tiger. Tiger backing up. Feeling a bit outmatched. Now this Pershing has an advantage here. This King Tiger has 1.5 million health. Where are the Stukes? They need to get involved right now. Is that going to be a dead Tiger? Needs the shell to bounce. Didn't bounce, but he's not dead. Oh my god, the pack just bounced off the front of that Pershing. What a trade, dude. What a trade. I am a little surprised that the US player didn't commit to that. He did hit a landmine right here while that was happening. Oh, what a barrage. What a barrage. Get out of there. Oh, man. Oh, what a great barrage. Taking out that Pershing with the rocket barrage. Wow. Oh, look how fast that King Tiger just got healed. Holy cow, these Pioneers worth their weight in gold. Brawling over the center point. What is this Tiger doing? Just slow firing. Just very slow firing. I haven't actually gotten to see this thing in combat because, the good and bad thing about heavy tanks is they're really hard to get to. So by the time you get them on the field, the game might already be over. But that is definitely not the case this game. Now, our US player has done such a good job controlling the victory points that the German player is down to 50 points here. And I said this earlier, I was saying that the German player needs to come up here and try and hold these 2 points. I think he's choosing not to do that because he's scared about a counter-offensive into his base. The US player could just rush his base with a few armored vehicles. And maybe that's what's holding him back from pushing all his stuff. But I think he needs to put every single one of his resources on the north side and focus on controlling these 2 points. That said, he is doing an excellent job controlling this bottom side. Nice barrages, pushing away those US forces. Anti-tank gun taking pot shots at this King Tiger from 1 million miles away. Wow, what a game this has been. Alright, so, God, I was so excited by that fight, I didn't take stock of the fact that our US player has literally no vehicles. He's got another minute before he can call in the Pershing tank. He definitely has the resources to do so. Looks like he is going to save up that 700 manpower for it. He's got the time. Our US player has 200 victory points remaining. That's plenty of time to stay alive here. Now, our German player has added on Defend the Fatherland, which is an active ability. Gives him huge bonuses to defense. He's probably used it this game, and I haven't noticed. Barraging his opponent's base with those rockets from these Nibble Warpers. Love seeing that. You know, that can be pretty devastating, especially on the retreat. If you catch your opponent on the retreat like that, you can wipe some serious squads from them. Anyway, back to what I was saying. He's got Defend the Fatherland. He's got this Propaganda Leaflet Barrage, which we saw up here. That was kind of cool to see the paper on the ground. I believe this makes your opponent retreat. Yep, they automatically retreat after 3 seconds. That's a cool ability. And then, of course, this V1 Rocket Strike. Now, that costs about $1.5 million ammunitions, 250. So it would literally take 10 minutes for our German player to gather enough resources to use that ability. I suspect we won't see it, but I won't put that juju in the air. Pershing pushing in here. Another shot through the, he just attacked ground through that tree. Love that. Pershing can't push in there with the AT. Looks like the US player is trying to do the same thing. Both players having to back up here. German players managed to add back on a couple heavy machine guns to lock down this point. Where's the other one? Yeah, holding down this, holding down 2 points with those heavy machine guns. I mean, that's definitely the way you want to do it. Ooh, that's what I was talking about, barraging the base here. Now, if the German player keeps up these barrages, he's actually going to start killing buildings here, which would be pretty bad for a US player. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him repair some buildings with these engineers. He's going to do that right now. Yep, that is what he's going to do right now. US player adding on a Greyhound. That's an interesting choice. I suspect that's to deal with the heavy machine gun squads that he's, you know, basically being held down by right now. We'll see how he wants to use those. Pink Tiger moving forward. Now, for those of you that don't know, you can hear vehicles in the fog of war. So I know it kind of looks like these players are map hacking, knowing where their enemy vehicles are, but it's just they can hear each other in the fog, and these big tanks are particularly loud. So, U.S. player pushing in, nice flank here, getting around that heavy machine gun. And here comes a grenade, probably. Heavy machine gun having to reposition. Oh, that wiped the squad. Wow. That was unlucky for our German player. Now this Stug somehow doing huge damage against these riflemen. That was impressive. Another rifleman squad here pushing around these Nubel Warpers. Really nice flank. That's going to make them reposition. I don't think it's going to get anybody. Here comes the Pershing anti-tank gun. Does it have an angle on this Tiger? Maybe. Hidden pack gun up close. That's really dangerous. Engineers pushing forward to try and deal with that. Panzer Grenadiers pushing away those riflemen in the middle. Stug hanging out. Pershing wiping that heavy machine gun. Armored car pushing in. Looks like it may have been the target of a Panzerfaust. Trying to push off this heavy machine gun. Heavy machine gun using its active ability. White phosphorus rounds doing additional damage to that Greyhound. Gently pushing it away. Riflemen finally able to get their hands on this victory point here in the middle. Anti-tank gun probably has vision of this Tiger. He actually has 2 anti-tank guns, but those shells just bouncing right off the front of that tank. Wow. Nubel Warper, this is going to be pretty devastating for our US player. Oh, it looks like he aimed a little too far away. He is going to kill that. Oh, wow. Perfect barrages, actually. Perfect barrages. Looks like he went long on the initial shots just by random chance. Rifleman did manage to secure that middle point before having to retreat. I think every point matters for a US player right now, so any time he's taking down the opponent is a good time for him. He is trading sides of the map here. This Pershing pushing away anything that might be a threat. M8 Greyhound. Blowing up landmines. Nice. Just He happens to know there's a mine there because he had a minesweeper in there earlier but wasn't able to remove it. And picking it up with his Greyhound. Pershing on the side of this, this King Tiger has been really good all game. He's been on the edge of that King Tiger. King Tiger did get hit by a anti-tank grenade, slowing it down there, so the 1-2 punch forcing that King Tiger back. Looks like the German player doesn't want to let the US player have this side of the map, so he's making a strong push north. And it does look like it's going to work. Those engineers need to get out of there. Looks like they barely scooted away. Pershing holding the line here. German player really committed to this side of the map. Wow, that was a squad wipe, I think. I didn't catch what it was. Pershing duking it out with the King Tiger. Greyhound coming in, trying to be a nuisance. That AT gun bouncing off the front of that Pershing was pretty lucky for the US player. Nubelwerfer's coming in. Not sure where there's a landing. Pushing away those pushing away the infantry in the middle there. And it does look like our German player is going to be able to secure this top half of the map. I'd love to see this Panzer Grenadier squad go pick up this victory point and put him in a really good position. He does have more than his opponent right now. Pershing using its superior mobility to run circles around this King Tiger, picking up that heavy machine gun in the middle. Another heavy machine gun pinning down some riflemen in the middle. They need to get out of here. They're just going to barely get out of here. You know, what has been very impressive this game is both players have done an excellent job keeping their units alive. I mean, I know we've seen a ton of death and destruction, but at this late stage in the game, it is very difficult to keep even the high veterancy squads alive, and both players have done a phenomenal job not losing these critical high veterancy units for the most part. Pershing coming in, shoving away. What was that? Is that an anti... Is that an armor penetrating round? Comes a barrage. King Tiger almost going down, barely going to make it. AT squads want to chase. I think that's a bit greedy. Oh, he's just getting out of the barrage. That's smart. I think he's sensed... Well, I don't know. I think he just got lucky. I don't know. He went forward with those AT guns. I thought he might chase, which I was thinking was a bad idea. Pershing is chasing, though. That's risky business. Pershing missing that tank, which is pretty sad for him. Does manage to get out of there. AT gun having to retreat from these riflemen. AT gun moving up, gonna hit this King Tiger. Can't see him in the fog of war. AT gun holding down this position. Riflemen, huge flank on the side here. They're gonna throw a grenade and leave, right? Maybe. Oh, barely living. Barely living. And unfortunately for the US player, this rifleman, this heavy machine gun barely lived as well. Come on, make it. Get out of there. It's barely living. Alright, our German player's finally taking away this top point. I think that's really important. Pershing says, get the heck off my lawn. AT gun's probably going to help out as well. And that's a risky place to set up, sir. Yeah, but he is going to trade a Stug for a heavy machine gun, and that is definitely a trade I would take. US player definitely wants that. Now, if you couldn't tell, I'm rooting for the underdog here. And, you know, you might think that the German player is the underdog, but I think our US player is actually the underdog because of how well positioned our German is and just how strong his army is. That said, this is anybody's game. This has been a nail-biter all the way to the end, huh? Now, this Pershing is freaking Veterancy 3, so, you know, it already has excellent mobility, and now it's got even better mobility with a bonus to fire rate and accuracy. I mean, this thing is going to be extremely difficult for our German player to deal with, as long as that Pershing uses its mobility advantage. Both players adding on some medium and light armor again. Our German player's adding on yet, I think that's the 4th Stug this game. US player adding on another Greyhound. Guess he was happy with how that first one performed. And pushing away those forces there. I think our US player needs to move up, which he is. And I like, you know, I really like this from our US player. He's pressuring everywhere at the same time because he knows the German is strong in one area, and the German doesn't do as well when he has to be everywhere at once. Got a Black Dragon artillery barrage coming in here. Absolutely devastating this area. Unfortunately for him, there isn't a ton of units in the area. Duke 3 going down to this Pershing tank. Is that a V1? Oh my god, dude. Oh, this battle's insane. Oh man, and I missed it too. Look at that crater. Now I think that V1 absolutely devastated the anti-tank guns. Holy cow. Alright, this game's coming down to the wire here. Our US player is actually ticking down the German player right now. The German player does not have any units in position to secure him, and the US player is currently trying to capture this bottom side. He managed to bait this King Tiger away with his Pershing, and now it looks like he's going to take this point away. His Panzer Grenadiers are probably going to stand here till they die. Just kidding, he decided to get out of there. I think he may have considered just standing there till they died to try and hold the point. This Pershing's going to pick up this King Tiger. Oh man, he didn't quite do enough damage. Is this got a shot? Oh, he bounced! He bounced! Oh my god, and this AT gun bounced. Oh, what a crazy game. Both these tanks should be dead right now. They should both be dead right now. Greyhound picking up these Nubelwerfers. I think that's really good. Honestly, if I were him, I might sit there and lose both units, but I guess he really doesn't want to lose that Greyhound. Oh, Nubelwerfer barrage. Barely keeping that Pershing alive. Anti-tank guns trying to sneak up and pick him up. Wow. And the German is managing to capture a point. It's going to be a tie game here shortly. Using this AT gun to capture this victory point. He's down to 4 victory points. He is still ticking down. So, US forces are going to pick up this AT gun. German's ready for him, though. Heavy machine guns set up on both sides. The German player has managed to stop the bleeding at 1 point. Holy cow. Barely holding on. I'm thinking he'll send these Panzer Grenadiers back to base while the US player's in retreat. German player trying to capture another point. Rifleman squad say heck no. Getting involved. Managed to stop the decapture. That's really important. What is that? Is that a leaflet barrage? Yeah, it is. So he's trying to get this squad to retreat, but I think the US player is going to get out of there just in time. He's Pershing on barely any health. Facing off against that anti-tank gun. Barely managed to push away that squad. Needs to move out of the way of that barrage there. Rifleman coming in to help. Rifleman capturing the final victory point on the top side, and I don't think our German player has any units to deal with it. It's just distracting the crap out of him down here. Single engineer and a heavy machine gun and a Stug going up, but I think those US troops have it. I think they have it. Oh, they're barely gonna make it! Oh, they died! Oh, no! Oh, no! Wow. What a game. There's about a million things I want to talk about, but that game was long enough, and you don't need me to talk your ear off, other than to say there was almost 100... There's almost, what is that, 90,000 damage? Just a little bit short of 90,000 damage done in that game. We saw... I think we saw 2 Pershing tanks. We saw 4 Stugs. I mean, goodness sake, that game was absolutely insane. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that one as much as I did, and I'll see you in the next one.